Welcome to Lower Keys Living, everybody. We've had a super windy, stormy week, but finally got a short window this morning to head on out. So I'm going to take you out, show you what we were rigged up with and how we did today. Thanks for joining us, and hope you learned something from this video. Thanks for watching. This morning, targeting sailfish, wahoo, kingfish, and tuna. It's been really windy and stormy out here all week. Lots of high winds, lots of surf. Wind started dying down yesterday. Waves settled down, so it was a pretty nice morning out there, but it was a short window because I had another front coming through with high winds picking up, and already this afternoon we've got small craft advisories back into effect. But these are what I was targeting today, and I rigged up with these. I started with 2 pink feather billy baits on the outriggers, and then I used a 20-foot diving wrap in the center. And I connect that with a 20-foot, 150-pound test wind-on leader, and I tie that directly onto the Rapala, and then use the bimini knot to connect it to my line. I like using the bimini knots with these wind-on leaders because it let me reel the entire leader all the way into the spool. Lets me get the fish really close to the end of the pole, and I definitely needed that today, and you'll see why here in a few minutes. Also, halfway through my day, I ended up switching out and getting rid of the feather lures and putting 2 more of these deep diving lures on the outside on the outriggers. And I did that because there were a lot of Portuguese man-o-war. The surface was just covered with Portuguese man-o-war, probably more than I've ever seen. And when you get that many up, the bait fish just disappear from the surface, so you're not going to find the bigger fish on the surface. So that's why I go get underwater. So I had 3 of the deep diving lures going all at once today, and you will see what happened with that here next. So my apologies in advance. I didn't start the video right away on this fish. Didn't realize I didn't have it on until it got really close. But it's a big Mahi. And here you're going to start seeing a cluster of mistakes that I make. Right here, I'm trying to pull that outrigger line in. It swam over the top of it. It wasn't tangled up, but needed to release that outrigger line so I can get this line underneath it. Then next, I had left my gaff up on my top rocket launchers. I never do that. Whenever I'm out fishing by myself, it is in the rocket launchers on the back of the seat, so it's easy to grab. So here I'm trying to keep that tip up with one hand and keep it and get that gaff. So it's now set. So now I'm bringing the fish in, and this is where that wind-on leader comes in handy. I can get this fish in really close, don't have to stop because of a swivel hook. But here's my big mistake. Go to gaff it, and it dove as soon as I gaffed it, ripped the gaff right out of my hand, then the gaff dropped out of the fish. So now I've got a big fish on the hook with no gaff. So I'm trying to see if I can how well this is hooked to make sure I'm not going to lose it if I lift this over by the hook. And I never lift a fish this size over by the hook in the mouth. Never trust that, but you're left with no choice because I got no other way to get this fish on. So I wind this leader all the way down, all 20 feet of that leader's on, so I can get really close to the fish. And fortunately, I had him hooked really well. Good set hook on this one. So I wrap it around my hands, and I just lift it up and over. You're not going to get a good view of this fish right here, but I'll show it to you in just a second because I'm trying to get this fish on, flip it over, and now I'm just looking for my gaff to see where it is. Fortunately, it's got the foam handle on it, so it does stick up a little bit of a way, but now I'm keeping my eye on the gaff. It's just bobbing up and down, and it got that foam handle on it, so it bobs up a few inches above the water, and then it sinks underwater. So really important to keep my eye on the gaff here so I can get it. I'm actually half embarrassed I got the camera on me here at this point, and then half glad so I can show you these mistakes. So right now I'm going to get this line out of the way, and I've got the second line on the outrigger on the other side of the boat. So I need to double check, make sure I'm not going to back over that when I start backing up to where I lost the gaff. So I get this one in close enough, and you can see I still have that pink feather bait. I hadn't changed those out to the outside Rapalas yet at this point, but probably should have early on. And I did catch that Mahi on that 20-foot deep diving Rapala. That's what that was on. So here I'm backing up, lining up my gaff, making sure I get it good and close to the boat. And On this one, you're going to see when I get up here, kick the boat back in neutral, let it drift up to it, and I actually tried for this twice. It was right there, missed it the first time, and again, tried to bump the boat forward just a hair to stop it drift back and realize I can't get it, was under the boat. So now I've got to reset and try and come back around on it while watching out for the line that's on the other outrigger on the starboard side of the boat. So here again, keeping an eye on it, watching it bobbing up and down. And once I get up to this one, this is where I really almost make a costly mistake. Once I come over, you're going to see, and I'll tell you in advance, I go to grab it, miss it, and then I go to reset, and I'm leaning way over the side, and my feet slip on the blood from that mahi that's on the deck because I didn't bother putting it in the cooler. And you'll actually see when I slip, my feet come up and I hit that pole that the mahi's on. So the one line that you can see just bottom left center of the screen, like right here, see that pole go? That was my feet going up in the air and almost went over. Fortunately, I was able to get a hold of the gaff right there, put that back, but that was just a horrible mistake on my part. I do, when on rough days, wear an inflatable life jacket when I'm out here that has my radio clipped to it. So if I do go overboard, can't get to the boat, at least I've got the life jacket on and the emergency beacon on my radio so I can be located, but still never want to do that. And again, exactly why I keep this boat in neutral whenever I'm bringing a fish in by myself, rather than keeping it idle speed. But here's a good look at the mahi, nice size winter mahi down here. Put up a really nice fight, beautiful fish. They are my favorite fish to go for down here. One, just the quality of how good they are to eat. And I'll show you a couple of close-up pictures of this here in a minute once I get back to the dock. So that's a look at it right there. We're back at the dock getting the boat cleaned up. And there's one more photograph here holding it up. So I'm 6'3", you can get an idea how big this fish was. And that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week on Lower Keys Living.